It's a fresh episode of South Suburban Spotlight on BCTV. I'm Sam Ekstrom, the host of the show with a hoarse voice today, but we're going to power through it. Sean Floersch is our first guest, the multi-sport Burnsville star, and later on we'll talk to Chris Leppers, the new Burnsville girls hockey coach. But we start with Sean. And Sean, I told him he's going to have to do the show if I can't continue here. The reason my voice is like this was announcing soccer today. It's a sport you're familiar with. It's a sport I've called games of yours. And in the last game I called, came down to a shootout. The goaltender got to make the game-winning save in penalty kicks. Is that the kind of moment as a goaltender in soccer that you dream about?
Yeah. We never got to a PK shootout, but I was always ready for it kind of thing. I kind of wish it would go there, just to have the power on me. But
Yeah, they don't play the penalty kick style in the regular season is the problem. They've got the short overtimes. No one ever wins, and it's a tie.
Sad.
Yeah. Have you always been someone who likes to just be put on the spot? Because as a goalie, there's a lot of pressure on you. As a pitcher, there's a lot of pressure on you. You're like the one guy out there on the field that everybody's looking at. Do you kind of embrace that spot on the field?
yeah, I kind of like I can focus. You know, once I'm focused, then you don't even notice that there's anyone else out there. So it's a natural skill. So you don't really learn how to avoid the pressure. You just kind of have to do it naturally.
Right. Are you a patient person by nature? Because I feel like those are two sports you have to be patient.
Yes, I'm very patient. I've always have been, but sometimes my patience runs out, but usually it's pretty good.
Well, let's talk about soccer first because it's a little more timely. You just wrapped up your regular season. Didn't win as many games as you probably wanted to. When it's not going the way you want as a goaltender, how do you bounce back from that?
You just have to put it behind you. I mean, you have to have faith in your team, and I always did. My team was a great group of guys. We didn't get the results we really wanted, but then at the end of the day, it's for fun. It's a high school sport. You don't play it to go to state. I mean, one team wins state every year, so you don't really expect to be the state champion. You just kind of play for fun and enjoy the friends you make and the games you play.
It's a good perspective to have on it for sure because, I mean, in sports in general, you have to have a short-term memory, right? So whether it's a home run ball that, you have to go over the fence and then you got to pitch to the next guy, or if a goal gets behind you, you got to make the next save, right?
It's one of those things, especially as a pitcher, goalie, there's going to be another opportunity right away. And you can't, if you're focused on the past, you're going to mess up again. And it's just going to be a rolling thing, and you can't have that happen, really.
I've always been curious about the communication as a goalie. Are you actively directing traffic out in front of you to make sure that angles are being cut off?
Yeah, I try to, and my center defenders do too. But you kind of have to see, you have the whole perspective of the field in front of you. So you can kind of go, oh, hey, there's a guy coming behind you. Make sure you read him, come back, and that kind of scenarios.
Are you kind of a leader by nature, would you say? Does that kind of have to be in your personality to do that?
My dad says I am. I was quiet growing up, but all my teachers growing up said, oh, he's a very quiet leader kind of thing. And eventually I learned how to have a voice more, so a vocal leader.
I would love to have a voice right now.
Yeah.
Can I have some of your voice, please? And now let's talk about baseball a little bit. That's your other sport. I mean, you wrapped up last spring. You threw a no-hitter last baseball season. Let's talk about that. So you go into this game. At what point do you start thinking about it?
Well, it was kind of weird because I had not had a 1-2-3 inning at all the whole season. So I was just like, hey, I have a no-hitter going through one inning. I said that out loud, and everyone was just like, oh, yeah, okay, Sean. And then I kept looking at the scoreboard, and I was like, well, the kid spent a second inning, spent a third inning. I'm like, oh, now it's actually like, this is as far as I've ever gotten is 3 innings. So then there's like fourth, fifth. I was like, oh, okay, this actually might happen kind of thing.
What pitch was working really well that day?
The curveball and the fastball. I don't have extremely fast stuff, so I have to mix up the speeds quite a bit. So I have my fastball and then the curveball, so I just mix it up, and the hitters were kept off balance more.
Was there a defining defensive play that saved it for you in that game?
There's a lot, really. I mean, I'm one person on a large field, so I mean, every play is difficult for different reasons. I mean, you get weird bounces, you have a tough throw kind of thing, but that's where a big thing comes from, is being able to have a good defense behind you, and I was blessed to have that day.
When the final out got recorded, I mean, is that an emotional moment for you? Is it an exhilarating moment for you? What kind of goes through your mind at that point?
It was exciting because I had known, as I wasn't, some people just don't even realize they've thrown a no-hitter kind of thing, but I knew after like the first inning, I was like, oh, I kind of have a no-hitter going. So
yeah, you were counting.
So I was just like, oh, another one. So I knew that it was going on, so I was really excited when it happened, because I had never been able to witness one, so I'd never even thought I was going to be able to throw one, especially on varsity kind of thing.
And the next time you pitched, how long did you carry a no-hit bid?
The next time I pitched, it was towards the end of the season, so I just threw out of the bullpen one game. I had 3 no-hit innings in that game too, so I was like, oh, we got 10 in a row, but then I ended up getting a hit in my next start, I think, in the playoffs.
Yeah, all good things have to come to an end. Exactly. We'll take a quick break with Sean, be back for more. Sean Floersch of Burnsville baseball and soccer teams. Back with Sean Floersch of the Burnsville Blaze, multiple teams, baseball, soccer, a lot of great athletic accomplishments for you on the field. I would argue your best accomplishment, you beat cancer.
Yes.
That's unbelievable. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's incredible to be in that club, right? Is that just a humbling thing to be able to say about yourself?
It's something I wish I didn't have to say about myself,
Yeah.
but I mean, at the end of the day, it made me a better person. It helped me figure out who I was really, where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do with my life. And I mean, you're sitting in the hospital for basically 10 months, so you have a lot of time to think about yourself, and especially when you get lost in your thoughts, which can be a bad thing at times. But yeah, the journey itself I find more important than just being able to say, oh yeah, I beat cancer. It's the background stories and the days that I had.
Yeah.
Just being able to have that.
10 months in the hospital. And now this was a rib, correct? Yep. So what were those 10 months? What was going on medically in that time, and what was kind of going on mentally in that time?
The hardest part was the mental aspect. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, how are you doing? Like physically, are you sick and that kind of thing? I'm like, well, I'm not good, obviously. I mean, you can't really be good when you're getting chemo, but the hardest part was mentally, because I had stopped playing sports, which was my favorite thing. So I didn't play soccer, I didn't play baseball for a while. I didn't know if I was going to play them again. So it was really, that was the first question I was asking doctors. I was like, well, like the doctors I had surgery with, I was like, do you think I can play soccer? Do you think I can play baseball again? They were like, well, I guess we'll see. And I'm just like, that's not the answer I want to hear. I mean, they can't guarantee it, but I wanted them to. It was tough. I mean, I was pulled out of school, so I didn't have like the social aspect of it as much. I mean, I was stuck at home or at the hospital every day, and the hospital's not a fun place to be. I mean, it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, but I mean, they try and make it good, but it's not at the end of the day, you know. But it was tough. I mean, you get lost in your thoughts. You get like, oh man, like, why did this happen to me? Do I deserve this? Did I do something to deserve this? It just, you get lost. I mean, it's just a random fluke that you get it, but that's not how you view it sometimes.
I imagine you get caught up in this wave of, either self-sympathy or everyone else feeling sympathy for you, and you just want a distraction. You want to play some baseball. You want to play some soccer, and you can't necessarily escape it all the time, right?
Right. So I mean, my parents always laugh because if I played like Xbox, I'd be playing like MLB or football on the Xbox, and that was how I like escaped it. And they were like, you're the happiest when we come down and talk to you in the middle of a game. And they were like, because you're able to be yourself more, because I was always found an outlet with sports, so that was the closest I could get during those times.
Right. And what was your support system? I mean, family has got to be huge.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, really. I mean, people I hadn't even met before were reaching out to me. I know we had a banquet that I wasn't able to go to because I was in the hospital for, but we raised $10,000 that night. So, I mean, I got a lot of cards, and I mean, my family, all the outside support is fantastic, but if you don't have a strong family, it's really tough because you're spending time with them so much. And I was fortunate to have, I mean, my sister was always there, my mom and dad were always there for me, and I mean, you can't get that every time, kind of thing.
So when you get the news, I'm in remission, what's the first thing you do?
We went bowling first off. I mean, it was just, we went out to dinner, we went bowling, and then I went back to school 2 days later because it was 2 days before the first day of school. So that was exciting. I mean, because I was like, oh, I get to go to school. Everyone else is like, oh, summer ends. And I was like, yes, summer finally ends because I've had a 10-month summer and I'm just ready to get back into it, kind of thing.
Would you say the whole experience has just reshaped how you view your friends, your family, your life in general?
Yeah, and I mean, you become more patient. I mean, that's where some of my patience comes from, was being able to, I mean, you have to be patient, go through it, but I mean, you're more patient with other people's opinions. You kind of realize, okay, well, there's outside stuff happening, because I could be walking down the street and you would be like, oh, that's someone, but I mean, I have mental struggles, I have physical struggles. You don't see that from every angle. So I am able to recognize that and be like, well, everyone should be treated equally, and it's unfair for me to say, oh, this person's a bad person when I don't know the full story behind their life.
And it all kind of ties together with you throwing this no-hitter last spring after all you overcame. I know you were on WCCO to talk about it. You've kind of, and you know, here you are, you're kind of looking at the rest of your life now. I mean, that's just got to be empowering to think of all that's ahead of you after all this.
It's exciting. Being able to connect it back to baseball was one of the first things I thought of. I was like, look at where it came from, because while I was going through chemotherapy, I went through physical therapy for like 3 times a week. I went to a place in Lakeville, and at the end of in the middle of the season, it was the last game of the season, I was finally able or cleared to pitch again. Yeah. And I remember stepping onto that mound and just being like, okay, I'm finally back. I was able to strike out the first guy back, and I was just like, okay, it's almost over at this point. I'll be able to have another 70 years ahead of me that I can enjoy. And when I threw the no-hitter, it kind of brought back that excitement that I was like, I'm still alive, kind of thing.
So what is ahead for you now with baseball? Obviously, you're getting ready for that. But what's after that? What interests you beyond high school?
I'm the son of 2 math teachers, so I'll probably go somewhere in the math department. I like math. I don't know if I'll be a teacher, but something with math, and I hope to be able to coach at some point. I want to be able to help other people, so that's a big thing. So if I can coach, I can impact other people's lives through that way. That'd be awesome. And then I'm hoping at some point to have or give back to the cancer community. Just donate money, but that anyone can donate money. But I want to be able to donate my time, and interact with the people that are fighting currently.
Yeah, inspirational stuff, man. Loved having you in here. That was great. That was great. Great to talk to you. Can't wait to call your games this baseball season as well. Sean Floersch of the Burnsville baseball and soccer teams. We talked to Chris Lepper of the Burnsville girls hockey team right after this on South Suburban Spotlight. Are they giving you a hint what positions they're going to try you at this year? I mean, maybe quarterback. Mitchell Eidner's not going to play forever.
Actually, I'll be playing outside linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah, switching on the other side of the ball.
You excited for that switch?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Back on South Suburban Spotlight, our next guest is Chris Lepper, Burnsville girls hockey coach. You know, they say the coaches are supposed to be the horse ones, but it's me today. Good to have you in studio, Coach. It's good to meet you. Tell me about what is your job during the day, and how do you transition from that to coaching?
Well, actually, I'm an online teacher.
Yeah.
So I teach for EdVision's Off Campus, which is a small project-based online charter school in Minnesota. So what I do is in the mornings, I teach from home and do things around the house before school and get up, once it's time, get on the computer. And about 11:30 when I finish my math class, I hop in the car and I drive to Burnsville, the arena. And I get to the rink and I set up in the referee coach's room that we have. And I teach the rest of the day from there until 3:10. I have a great staff. They're very flexible on stuff. They know I work extra hours here and there. So about 3:10, I shut off the computer and I go on the ice with the girls. So I'm at the rink every day, early.
So you took this job in the off season. What did you know about Burnsville before you came here as a program?
Oh, I've been scrimmaging Burnsville for a long time. When I was at the head coach at Woodbury, we've had Burnsville over since I got there. Under Tracy, the Casanos, they came over. They've been part of our scrimmage festival. In the summers, we've come over and scrimmaged Burnsville here. So I've had a relationship with Burnsville for a long time against scrimmaging them when I was at Woodbury, and then being the general manager for Section 3AA for high performance hockey. It's where you get to meet the girls from Burnsville and really get a chance to talk with them, and they're just phenomenal kids. So when I resigned at Woodbury, the one thing I said was there's only one girl's job that I would apply for, and I said that's Burnsville. And it's not because they had a great record last year. It's because of the kids that I got to meet through the HP programs, is that they've always been great kids, always smiling, always work hard. And that's when the opportunity came up to come here. I was pretty excited.
And a lot of those girls are back on this year's team, only 4 seniors gone. How appealing was that about this job?
Again, it's about the kids and how hard they work. Every season's different. I mean, one year you're doing really well, next year your record drops. People don't expect you to do well, you do great. People expect you to do well, you don't do as great. When you lose 4 seniors, I know with Pester, she was an honorable mention All-State goaltender. So, you're putting somebody new in that role. You can't always expect you're going to be the All-State goaltender next. I mean, we have Maria Wooden. She's going to do a great job. It's now her net. She played 2 varsity games last year, so it's her opportunity to go out there and shine. You lost Howard and Hartung. They were great players, but somebody else has to fill that void. So even though you're saying you've got a lot of returners in there, people need to step up to do different things. It just takes time, and you have to build that cohesion. And the girls have been just absolutely fantastic. They're asking a ton of questions, but right now we're trying to build. So what we can be, I think is something really special, but we're on our journey to get there.
You've coached, obviously, at Woodbury previously and other stops before that. Would you say you bring a system with you to each new stop, or do you craft a new system around what you have in front of you?
I like to craft a system around what's in front of me. If you were to go back and ask players from anywhere I've coached, I'll switch systems based on this is not working for us. We need to do something different. If I didn't feel what we were teaching them right now was the right starting point, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now. But I think that this fits in very well with this team because of the amount of speed that, our forwards have.
When you have so many returners on the team, do you have to stick to some extent with what's familiar to them, considering that they ran something last year that they got used to?
Hockey's not that difficult of a game. I mean, it still comes down to skating, shooting, and passing. There are some things that you can take from any coach that they do that's going to be similar, and then there's going to be some things that are different. Some of the things that we do that are similar, the difference is my terminology. how I would explain it compared to how their last coach explained it would make it maybe like a little more difficult to understand, or they're just trying to adjust. But there are some things that we're going to be running that are exactly the same. And then there's going to be some things that are just slightly different. And, there's different things too, aspects like how the penalty kill or how the forecheck or the power play broke out that might be the same. But then when you get in the other end, it might be a different actual in the zone system, but the breakout might be the same.
Let me ask you a big picture hockey question. You see a renaissance in sports of offense, more three-point shooting in basketball, more passing in football, more home runs in baseball. Is hockey ever going to have that, where suddenly you see a drastic uptick in offensive play?
I think it's hard in hockey because if I'm going to shoot a three-point shot from behind the arc, the only way it's not going in is if I miss or somebody bats it away. But if it's in the air, it's going in, it's in. They don't have the goaltender standing in front of the hoop. I mean, goaltenders are always going to be the key to the ultimate key to success. I mean, you look at different teams and their runs at state, they get to state not because necessarily their team is great, that goalie can take them there.
So would you rather win a game 5-4 or 1-0?
Oh, I've lost games 1-0 and 5-4. I'd rather lose a game 5-4. It's 1-0 is tough because you can't put that much more pressure on your goalie that, hey, I stopped everything except for one shot. You've got to put pucks in the net, but you've got to get people in the right places to do that. You've got to teach them, little tricks on how to score more often. I mean, one of the common themes I've seen with girls hockey is the constant rebounds back right where they came from. Shot came here, bounced in front, I'm going to shoot it right back, looking for a magic hole to open up that, the puck's going to automatically find its way into the net. Well, it doesn't occur. So we try to teach them, like yesterday, again, we only had the one practice. Just change the direction of the puck. Start using more of the weak side. Yeah. Just different things to try to open up the game around the net more so we can increase our scoring.
It's good stuff from Chris Lepper. We're going to take a quick break and then be back with Chris for a little bit more hockey talk after this.
The Burnsville girls hockey team led 4-3 in their home hockey opener. Going on the penalty kill in the third period, Burnsville came up with a game-changing play. Here's Scott. Scott from a tight angle, lost the puck, and Bowlby one-on-one with Peterson. Flanked by Nelvin. Bowlby. Nelvin scores!
What a play by Nelvin to finish on that one. What became just a breakout on a shorthanded, and a second shorty, by the way, of the night for the Blaze, turned into a 2-on-1 that converted.
Final segment of the show with Chris Lepper, the Burnsville girls hockey coach. I want you to work backwards. Just help us know what led you to Burnsville. Where were you before Burnsville, before Woodbury? Kind of what brought you to this point?
Oh, this is a long journey. Actually, when I graduated from St. Cloud State and I moved back after graduation, I started, I was coaching Pee-wees back in college, but then when I went back to International Falls where I grew up, I was helping coach the Rainy River Community College men's team as an assistant. And then the next year, Sartell started their boys high school program. So I was the first boys hockey coach at Sartell, Minnesota. I spent 3 years there, but I was newly married, had a child, hadn't received a teaching position yet. I was offered a position in South St. Paul. So I went to South St. Paul and I was a assistant coach there for 2 years. Then I was offered the position at Somerset, and I went to Somerset for 4 years as the varsity boys coach. Mm-hmm. Then did the next year as a girls assistant at New Richmond. And then I went to Augsburg and was the JV coach at Augsburg for a year. And then I started my trip into junior hockey. So I spent a couple years coaching in the Minnesota Junior Hockey League as both an assistant and as a head coach, and kind of got tired of junior hockey and decided that I wanted to coach girls. And it happened that North St. Paul opened up, and I went to North St. Paul for 3 years before I went to Woodbury for 7. And that's where I'm at right now.
It sounds like hockey's a pretty big part of your life. I mean, would you say in terms of hobby, that's up there? And now it's your job, but you know, being a fan of hockey, following hockey, does that take up a lot of your time?
No. My focus for hockey is more towards the team. You know, I love baseball. I'll watch baseball. I watch football, things like that. But, you know, my focus is this group. You know, I really don't watch like a lot of college hockey. I don't get to watch a lot of NHL hockey because the seasons overlap and you're always doing things with your team. You know, if it came to like a Friday night and I want to watch a game at 9:30, I'm tired, I'll watch it till I fall asleep. But if it's like 8:30 and I want to watch a game, I'm going to pop in one of our games and just watch that to get more input from what I saw, and maybe something I missed the first time I watched it.
We're going to try to get to know some of the non-hockey interests you have with our BCTV speed round. We're going to put you on the hot seat. This is the part of the show that gets very intense. You're going to be sweating under the hot lights. Let's cue up the music and let's get into the speed round. What is the furthest you've been from home in your life?
Cancun.
Love Cancun. Are you an early riser or do you sleep in? I think you answered this already.
I sleep in if I can. But here's the thing. During the school year, I would rather sleep in, but for everything that I do, I'm an early riser, but I go to bed real late. So I get maybe 6 hours of sleep a day.
Got it. So you're not a morning person,
No.
but you're an early riser.
Yes.
There is a difference. There's a huge difference. What do you remember about the Miracle on Ice?
I remember where I heard it. You know, back when I was a kid, in a gas station, in International Falls, with the pointy winter hats. You know, they were flat and they kind of had the house shape at the top. And the game had already occurred, but it hadn't been televised yet.
What's your favorite TV show right now?
Every Wednesday night, me and my wife watch Survivor.
What is your ideal breakfast?
Steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs, that's heavy. When you fill your car up with gas, do you fill it all the way or do you stop after $5, $10?
Oh, I fill it up all the way. In fact, I'm clicking it to get more in there as it's trying to stop me from doing it.
Are you loyal to a specific shoe brand?
Right now, yes. I like my Asics. They seem to be working well for me.
What is your favorite subject to teach?
Oh, it's history. I love history. I'm a history major, so social studies, history, yeah.
You're off the hot seat.
Okay.
Chris Lepper, the Burnsville girls. We can't wait to cover some of your games on BCTV. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing them on the ice.
They're going to be real fun to watch. They're great kids and they work hard.
Outstanding. Chris Lepper of the Burnsville girls hockey team. Big thanks to Chris and to Sean Floersch as well. I'm Sam Ekstrom. It's South Suburban Spotlight on BCTV.